Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Doodle Empires. And I have just realised that you can only have 8 saves at once, so I'm going to be forced to stop here and go to sleep because I've recorded 7 of these episodes in a row. Well, 6, but this is my 7th. Everyone but episode 1 has been recorded in one sitting just because I don't know. I don't know why I'm finding so much fun out of this game. Like, I've not done anything else this evening other than play this game. Like, it was not that fun, I swear. But anyway, we're going to hop straight into this to 800 turn, going over to Ecuador, which is going to found their religion. And it's going to be Ecuadorism, which I'm pretty sure already existed, but you know what, it exists now. And going over to the real Hispaniola Empire, they're going to split, but they're not, because there's no territory. Where are they going to split from? Going over to the Karachi Sultanate, we see them expand into Delhi and also in the Iraqi Empire, just kind of being a relevant country. Going over to Papua, we see them small expand as we see them fight back against the Philippines, as they also take over Java away from the Brunei people. Speaking of Brunei, we see them large expand as they take back Java and they also conquer the rest of Sumatra. I'd much rather just delete the Sumatran. Actually, I'll leave Sumatra there if it wants to rise up. But we also see Brunei kick off the Philippines, and they also launch their invasion back into what once was their land at some point. There we go. We also see them try and take over this Australian part of Papua. However, they don't take it all. But next we're going over to the Song Dynasty, which will be adopting a religion. And the Song Dynasty will actually be Sumatranism, which I know is a random religion as Sumatra doesn't exist, but you know, I guess that's a main reason why they rebelled. Sure, we'll go with that. I can't change the name, unfortunately. I don't know why. Otherwise, I'd call it something. But also, I didn't really want, like, the Desh, the Wu Desh fell, and I didn't really want this to be another Desh. So, you know what? We got the Song Dynasty. Anyway, going into Blue Country, we see the medium expand. We see them actually, maybe betray. Well, actually, no. Okay, we see the Red Country go ahead and join the Blue Country Trust, as they go ahead and take over that. And they also go ahead and manage to take back Detroit, the capital of the Red Country, which no longer exists anyway, but you know, whatever. As it's now the Blue Country and the Lime Country in all-out war. But going back over to Afro-Eurasia, we go over to the Sny Country, which is a large expand, which is going to be fighting its war against Rome, as we see them manage to take back Constantinople and Sofia, and even take Athens away from Rome, as Rome completely loses this war, as the Sanaans are now on the doorstep of Rome, basically. Although there's a bunch of road pixels which I really need to fix, or whatever. Going over to Lithuania, we see them. What, Lithuania? Lithuania? What? Okay, apparently Lithuania decides to do a giant uprising and appear out of absolutely nowhere, posing a huge thumb in the German side, splitting German land basically in two, as we now have this random enclave of German land, and we now have a giant Lithuania for no reason. But you know, whatever. I love it. Anyway, going into Florida, we see them small expand, as we see Florida continue to try and defeat the #1 power in the world, which actually they're doing okay at. Go over to I just wasted us. Anyway, going over to Vietnam. I wonder what I say Vietnam, this is technically northern Vietnam. We see Vietnam large expand, as I think I'm just going to make Vietnam conquer, Vietnam, or at least conquer the majority of Vietnam, because I'm assuming they can't take it all, annoyingly. There we go, we have basically all of Vietnam minus southern Vietnam. We're going over to Nepal. We see Nepal large expand as they combat their aggressive neighbors to the north. Well, I say aggressive neighbors, they're the aggressive ones. We see them fight off the Tibet Desh as they continue their expansion into all the Deshes around. Next we go over to Brunei, which adopts a religion. I mean, I'll probably just put Brunei under Sumatranism, because that makes the most sense. Like the regional religion. Going over to the Cacus Horde, which I'm not going to mess up, we go see them large expand. Okay, while everyone's distracted, we see the Cacus Horde launch their invasion into Europe, reaching further than before, as they threaten Moscow and take over a bunch of cities over here. We're going over to this stupid thing again. No, it's not stupid. We see this random country go ahead and gain even more of Brazil, uninterrupted. The Irish have not had a chance to expand at all, and this country's had like 4 large expands. It's crazy. Look how big this country is now. Like, if I make it like black. Like, look at that, bro. That's crazy. But anyway, it's technically under the Irish Empire, so I'm going to leave it a similar colour. Speaking of empires, going over to Yemen, we see them get a large expand, as we see Yemen kick off this country, and they push up against the Sinai country from the south, and they also push up against the Iraqi country up here, as they actually managed to defeat both their powerful invaders. Going over to Morocco, we see Morocco large expand, as, I guess we see Morocco invade into Portugal, as we also see Morocco go ahead and take over some of the Portuguese colonies over here, which are ceded to Morocco in a peace treaty in which they signed, as Morocco is probably more powerful than Portugal now. But going over to Iceland, we see Iceland try and split, but I'm not going to do that because I don't care. We go over to the German Empire, which gets a large expand, as we see Germany launch its invasion into Lithuanian territory, which I wish they really need to add like a recolor tool, because I'd love to just like recolor the Lithuanian like stuff rather than having to like brush over previous borders made. We also see Germany launch its invasion into the Horde, pushing the Horde back, taking back most of the land the Horde previously took. However, they focus over here as they push into France, pushing France back to France for like the first time since France's creation. Next we go over to California, which gets a small expand, which allows them to basically push the Floridians back a lot. Because if you don't know the expansion scale, so small expand for California is probably like medium or large expand for Florida. So also they're flatlanders, where these are mountaineers, which makes it much harder for them to expand. Go over to Finland. We go ahead and see Finland small expand as Finland fights off the German invaders, pushing them back. Next we see, oh my god, this stupid country go ahead and expand even more, expanding further into the flatland as, I don't know, whatever, bro. They just own like all of South America. This is technically the Irish Empire. If the Irish had this, bro, if this was under the Irish country, they'd be the biggest country in the world. Genuinely. They would genuinely be the biggest country in the world. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. Speaking of the Irish Empire, I was thinking of making them slightly darker, but then they look like Portugal, actually. I'm going to make them like that colour. Then like that. Actually, that looks a lot better, actually. Like Para, it was just this random state here. I don't even know what Para is. Like, you could call this Brazil, but like, I'm kind of tempted to keep it Para, bro. Like, low-key, it's kind of fine. Hold on. Should I add like Rio and Sao Paulo? I have no idea where they are, but I'm assuming they're like here. Hold on, wait, let me check that out. Should I basically right here? Although, actually no, yeah, I basically got that dead on. That's crazy. But anyway, back to seeing which country will go ahead and be our next little person or whatever. We see Vietnam split as we see Thailand go ahead and declare its independence. This country, this color here. Yep, Thailand's like, I'm back, bitches. And also I want to get rid of that color because that's annoying me. We go ahead, see Thailand. I don't know. Grey country, whatever. Go over to Rome. We see Rome small expand as we see Rome manage to take back Iran. However, they cannot take back Athens from the approaching Sinai Empire. Next, we see the Delhi Desh unionize. Yeah, they wouldn't really unite with anyone. So yeah. Next, we see the Brunei Empire large expand. No, oh, for God's sake, dude, I hate when it does that. Yeah, well they don't because it's a stupid bug. Next, we see the Swedish Empire large expand as we see Sweden finally invade into Finland, taking over this whole land up here, as this might be the slow end for the Finnish domination of Northern Europe, as Sweden is here to take it out. Next we go over to Rome, which split as we see Tunisia have enough of this war. Tunisia does not want to fight anymore. It's been the battleground for many conflicts, as Tunisia just decides it's out and it dips and declares its independence from Rome, which is now just a glorified better Italy. Yeah, not really Rome anymore. Next we go over to the Delhi Desh, which gets a small expand, which gives it some breathing room. However, it is still not looking good. And we go over to the Han Dynasty, which continues to expand, and it takes this random city, which I don't know why that exists. Let me delete that. Next we go over to the German Empire, which large expand. We see Germany beat back Rome and take Croatia away from Germany. As we see Germany continue its advance eastward as it beats the Finnish Empire. And we eventually see it take Kiev, as well as, look at that, oh my god. And we see the German Empire conquer Europe as, like, who can stop Germany here? Like, Sweden is maybe a power, but I'd say in this scenario, Sweden would be Sweden's kind of working on the side of Germany. And they're trying to kill, like, Finland, the Horde, Rome, France, and all that. With Ireland neutral, of course. We see Ethiopia large expand as Ethiopia fights off both Yemen and this weird-looking Sri Lankan people. Not weird-looking Sri Lankan people, weird-looking Sri Lankan country. Anyway, we see Philippines small expand as we see them reinvade Brunei, and down here, taking over a good portion of this land. Next we go to Greenland, which decides it wants to split for the 100th time, but it's not. Is this like division? Like, what's going on? Thailand, an expansionist, decides it wants to expand, and we see southern Vietnam conquered by Thailand as they try and push up north, as this looks really weird. But anyway, we go over to Greenland, which wants to split again. Greenland, you wasted like 20 turns from the split. I'm not letting you split. Will we see the German Empire unite? Or would the German Empire unite with anyone? No, absolutely not. No. Okay, anyway, we go ahead and see that Iceland wants to split, but I'm not letting anyone split. Well, not anyone, but I'm not letting these countries split. We go over to the Nepal Empire, and wants a large expand as we see Nepal cut off the Delhi thingamajig, which has a few road pixels somewhere. But eventually, we see that Delhi is basically surrounded and is not going to last much longer. However, I will give it a very dark color just so it's much easier to see the pixels. Or should I give it like white? Actually, I can't give it white, that's disgusting. Anyway, there we are. Nonetheless, we're going over to Florida, which is going to medium expand and try and fight off the Californians with the best of their might. We're going to Florida, which gets another medium expand, as Florida is dedicated to the cause, as Florida actually takes, oh, aside from one pixel, defeats Central America of California, whatever, you get what I mean. Tibet declares it's a brand new origin. Okay, I thought you were your own origin anyway, but whatever. Next, we're going over to the Sinai Empire, which decides it wants to unite. We see the Sinai Empire conquer Tunisia. However, I'm just going to use the unite button to simulate that conquering. As Tunisia thought that they'd get free and be peaceful and neutral, but they just got straight invaded, so oops. The Karachi Sultanate finishes off the Delhi Desh up here, which hopefully loses all of its pixels. I know it has land down here, pretty sure. But yeah, there we go. The Sultanate up here has defeated the Desh, and it's now Nepal versus the Karachi Sultanate for who's the stronger Indian subcontinent country. Going over to Sweden, we see Sweden get a medium expand as we see Sweden's continued pressure off Finland as they actually manage to go ahead and take St. Petersburg from Finland, as this is the end for the Finnish country. Going over to Ecuador, we see Ecuador large expand as they basically expand to fill in the last remaining gaps up here, as the only place they can really go is down here. As I mean, a fight between these countries wouldn't really do anything because they're just so big. Going over to the Wudesh, however, the Wudesh actually makes a breakthrough and manages to start fighting off both of the countries which rebel from it. And really still putting up a good fight. Like, it's not the smallest country there. And Morocco triggers the age of conflict for the next 30 turns, and Morocco itself gets a small expand as it goes ahead, takes more of these Portuguese colonies, as it's now actually the African countries which are colonizing. But going over to Iceland, we see Iceland small expand and invade into Greenland. I need to get a drink. I'm back for these last 50 turns, with 28 of them being under the age of conflict, and we're going over to Rome, which is medium expanding. We see Rome take back Athens, but also launch an offensive against the Germans. As I feel like we're kind of giving a world war here. Like, to me, it's kind of giving France, Rome, and Finland versus Germany, Sweden, and Sinai. Although Rome and France are long-time enemies, so not really. It's just kind of a free-for-all. But anyway, going over to Iceland, we see the medium expand. Yeah, sure, whatever. Nobody cares. Anyway, going over to Para, we see them continue to expand as they're now in actually Paraguay, which is kind of funny, but that's not where they originate from. They originate from this random province. Not random province, I keep saying random province. I don't know if that's mean. This province, which is this area here in Brazil, or around that area, and now it's a huge country. Whatever, I guess. This is going to be that capital of Bellum. Funny. We see Japan large expand, as we see Japan completely wipe Korea off the map, as Japan also launches an invasion into Taipei and makes an agreement with this country down here. And also makes an agreement with this thing down here, and also makes an agreement with the Wu, and also makes an agreement with the Wu Desh down here, that if they help them in this war, then they can keep Beijing and any land above this river. And they do just that. Japan launches its invasion into the Han Dynasty and instantly goes ahead and threatens the capital of Beijing. Also, I'm going to make this country a different color because it can't be the same color. There we go. Next, we go over to the Red Empire, which is alive with 1 pixel, whatever. They're just going to adopt Californianism because why not? Next, we go over. Is that the Red Empire again? There we go. We go over to Thailand, which is going to go ahead and get a new leader. Cool. We go over to the Sinai Empire, which is going to split. Oh, I did not expect that. We see a huge rebellion in Constantinople rise up as we go ahead and see the return of the Greek Empire. And you might be thinking, well, that's not in Greece. But in this world, all this land is like Greece. Like all of Turkey and Greece are the same culture. As we go ahead and see the Greek Empire rebel from the Sinai country. And I was kind of mistaken for releasing Cyprus as part of the Greek rebellion, as Cyprus is kind of mixed, but like all this land is pure Greek. There we go, we now have the Greek Empire back. And I don't know, I'm assuming they'd be fighting. Actually, well, they're kind of fighting both of these countries, but whatever. Go over to the blue country, we see them unite. I mean, we could see the nah. Maybe we should fight in a war. Like, if not, we could see a giant North American country, but I'm not gonna do that. But there we go, this is what I mean. We see the blue country go ahead and reach the coastline for the first time over here, as they continue invading the lime country, nearing the capital, although they're going to have to conquer all this land, which is really annoying. We see the Greek Empire large expand as we see the Greek defeat the Greeks over here. What did I just say? We see the Greeks defeat the Romans in Greece, as we also see the Greeks continue to push up against the Sinai, as the Sinai are fully kicked out of Greek land over here, as Greece also launches its invasion into the horde, taking Belgrade and Bucharest. And just like that, the Greek Empire is back, baby. The Greeks have managed to revolt and return to basically their former size, despite this land here, and also like they used to have Crimea and Egypt and stuff or whatever. Going over to the Hispaniola Empire, we see them conquer Hispaniola from the Moroccos, and also take a bit of Cuba. Going to Ethiopia, we see Ethiopia attempt to kick Yemen completely off Africa, and they do, as they also further push down here. And there we go. Look, we now have a huge Ethiopia. Going over to Tibet, the main character, we see Tibet invade. What's it called? The Han Dynasty over here from the west, as the Han Dynasty is getting crushed now. As the Tibet Desh is now actually gaining popular. Like, this land is good, this land is good, this land is all mountains, but you know, maybe they got people there, whatever. But now it's actually getting good land. And we go ahead, see the Nepal Empire make the first move on the Sultanate over here, as they push deep into that territory, going along the river here, threatening Karachi, as they also go ahead and work down on the Sri Lankan country here, as the Nepal Empire, oh my god, is absolutely huge. Going over to Portugal, we see them get a new leader, whatever. We go to the blue country and they get a small expand, as we see the blue country work at pushing this way in order to defeat the lime country, which in the real world would have lost right now, because they've lost basically all their good land. But no, they're still technically bigger, aren't they? Yeah, they're still bigger, just because of this land up here, which is like huge. Next, going over to the lime country, we see them large expand. We see the lime country make a huge push, mainly down here, as they basically just revert all the progress made in the previous turns, taking back their coastline, also threatening Detroit. Anyway, moving on to Nepal, we see Nepal continue to large expand, as we see Nepal defeat them and take over their second biggest city, as well as basically just forcing the Karachi Sultanate to retreat down to basically just Karachi and this land over here. I would have taken this city, however, I'm going to take all the land before I take their capital, and it will give them a chance to fight back from the capital, you know. But look at this. We have a huge Nepal in India, which is always nice to see. Like, who would have thought Nepal and Tibet to be some of the major powers? Right now, I mean, there's 30 turns to go, but a lot of the old major powers have been defeated this episode. Anyway, going over to Tibet, we see them large expand, as we see Tibet push over to the Wu dynasty, as they actually managed to go ahead and take this land here, as well as taking Beijing. And just look at this monstrosity. We go ahead and see Tibet. We go ahead and see the Tibet dash. I'm sorry. Sorry. I can't speak because I'm awed by Tibet being the leading country. Well, probably not the leading country. I'd probably argue that Nepal was stronger. But this is one of the strongest countries in Asia. That's kind of crazy. They have the former Han Empire land, and they are now huge. Although Japan is annoyed at them, because Japan's like, hello, I was going to get Beijing, not you, screw you. And the Wu dynasty was like, I was hoping to reclaim some of my land, but you know what, as long as I get to exist, that's fine. Ethiopia large expand, as we see Ethiopia expand further in to the continent, as well as launching their invasion into Yemen, as Ethiopia is not messing around. Go ahead and see the Caucasus Horde medium expand, as they push in to the Greek Empire over here, as well as pushing into the German Empire, as well as the Caucasus Horde. Going over to the Greek Empire, we see them get a medium expand as they push both into the Balkans, but also Belgrade and Bucharest, as the Greeks continue to reclaim their lost land while also slightly pushing against the Sinai people. Go over to Florida, we see Florida large expand, as we see Florida start pushing up in Mexico and on the coastline as they cut California off from the coastline. As we go over to Sweden, which gets a medium expand as they completely launch an invasion into here, taking over the majority of Finnish Russia, but I'm assuming some of it will still exist. Taking this land here, and there we go. Sweden has almost conquered all of Finland. We go over to Hispaniola. We see Hispaniola get a large expand as they actually go after the Moroccans, as they take over a large portion of Moroccan Colombia with great success. As they actually kick Morocco all but 1 pixel out of the Americas. And we see Sumatra go ahead and rebel from the Sri Lankans. And what is this? Is this the Brunei people? As Sumatra declares itself back as a country again, and basically it just exists, I guess, whatever. We go over to the Pet Desh, which actually goes ahead and fights a war with Japan, in which it begins to fight. Also, the Tibet Desh is now flatlands now apparently, so I'm going to need to expand them into flatland. But it's looking pretty huge right now. We go over to the Californian Empire, which gets a split. Oh my goodness. Wow, what would be a good split? I think I'm going to do the Baja State actually. We go ahead and see that the Baja State comes back to life down here. And actually, there's no California capital. I should probably set it. Hold on, is there a Northern Californian city? I would do Sacramento, maybe something like that. You go ahead and see that the Baja State appears from California with like all this land. We go ahead and see the creation of a Baja state down here, as many provinces are now rebelling from California as California begins to crack. Because the capital of California is now Sacramento, and that's the most northern city I could think of. Also over here, we also have Vancouver, which I know is technically not on Vancouver Island, but I'm putting it on Vancouver Island because I hate everyone. Going with the Philippines, we see the Philippines large expand, as you see the Philippines take back Taiwan, as we also see the Philippines launch their invasion into the Song Dynasty down here, taking up a good portion of southern China, as we also see them continue their invasion down into Borneo, threatening the capital of Brunei, as the Philippines is getting big. We go over to Japan, which we see Japan large expand as they launch their invasion into the Tibet Dash, as they go ahead and take over all of Tibetan land, as the Tibetan military is not strong enough to fight off Japan, which has all its population over here, while Tibet is a pretty big country. Next we go over to the Greek Empire, which decides to adopt a religion, but it's still I find it funny that it's the same religion, but like they're fighting, which doesn't make much sense, but I don't care. I don't care. The religion is not the story. No, the religion is not what matters, it's the story. Anyway, going over to Vietnam, we see Vietnam large expand. And we see Vietnam actually go ahead and fight Philippines in a war and take over this land from them. We also see them go ahead and take back southern Vietnam, as Vietnam is a country for the first time ever. We actually go ahead and see them take over all of this land down here, as they actually launch an invasion into the Tibet Dash, taking over a pretty good portion of land, and we now have a pretty big Vietnam down here, which is pretty cool. Going over to the blue country, we see them small expand as they reach the coastline yet again, as yeah, North America, this war's kind of boring, they're too big. And we go over to Florida, we see Florida large expand again, and oh my goodness, Florida is like crazy right now. We go ahead, I'm not trying to invade the Baja state, by the way. If it happens, it's an accident. We see Florida continue to push against California, which has lost a lot of its land as Florida has become the dominant empire in the region. Well, not dominant empire, but like, you know what I mean. But for the last 13 turns, we're in the age of conflict as we see Barra Large expand again. Oh my goodness, what is absolutely going on? Why is the country not splitting? It's ran out of flat land. How the country has conquered all the flat land on the continent. Like, what am I even meant to do? Okay, we see them also invade Portugal, I guess. Whatever. Sure. Look at this. Oh my god. What a joke. Anyway, going over to Iceland, we see Iceland medium expand against Greenland. Sure, whatever. Do your thing. That's not what we care about. We're hoping to get in Europe for the tension. We go to the Baja state, which tries to unite with stuff. Hello, no too. Anyway, going over to Hispaniola. No, why are we in South America? I don't want to be in South America. Okay. Papua diverges their origin. Cool. Whatever. Actually, I'm getting to Europe. I'm sorry, we're going to a European country. Okay, the Caucasus Horde. What are the Caucasus Horde doing? The Caucasus Horde medium expand as they fight against the German empires, as well as the Greece, as they take over Belgrade, Bucharest, Budapest, and leave, as the Caucasus Horde is still huge. We have the Iraqi Empire, which medium expand as they fight off against the Yemen people, as they go ahead and take Muscat and also begin their invasion into the Karachi Sultanate. We also go over to the Sri Lankan Empire, which goes ahead and fights back against the Nepalese Empire up in the north. Next we go to I don't want to go over to Southeast Asia anymore. I do want to go over the Greek Empire, which gets a split. Ooh, what splits from them? We go ahead and see Cyprus go ahead and declare its independence, as it wants nothing else. And you know what? There we go. We see Cyprus go ahead and declare its independence, and it dips, and it's independent for the first time. Anyway, going over to Hispaniola. No, I don't want to go to Hispaniola. Okay, we see Hispaniola. You know, oh my god, Portugal still exists. Okay. Oh my god, what is the Han? Actually, I don't want the Han Dynasty here anymore. I'm ignoring the Han Dynasty right here. Okay, I don't want that. I want somewhere in Europe. Give me Europe. Give me Europe. For the last 3 turns, I'm doing Europe only. We go over to the Caucasus Horde again, which largely expand. We see the Caucasus Horde take Moscow for the first time in this, ever. as we see the Caucasus Horde go ahead and launch its invasion into Greece as it nears the city of Constantinople, as it takes Sofia and Budapest, as well as Krakow, as the Caucasus Horde is absolutely huge and it's dominating Europe at the moment. Okay, gotta have Europe, gotta have Europe. I guess Cyprus, but like I don't care about Cyprus. Okay, we see the Sinai country go ahead and split. Ooh, you go ahead and see the Tunisians that were wrongfully conquered declare their independence, and they're like, bro, you didn't let me live, so I'm just. And we also see them go ahead and take over the Libyan capital of Tripoli, as Tunisia decides that it's coming back and it's taking all the land. No, and for the final turn, we're going Crimea. Where's Crimea? Crimea shouldn't exist. I'm not doing Crimea. Okay, where is Crimea? Genuinely, what do you mean land area 1? Wait, let me find the Crimean pixel. Crimea, where are you? What? Genuinely, where's this pixel? Is it behind some of this text? Hello? Hello? Are you having a great time? Okay, apparently Crimea exists on this map, but I'm ignoring it. No. That's not. I stopped getting Cyprus. There we go. Sinai again for the final turn. Sinai medium expand as we see the Sinai country push up into Greece as they take over all of this land up here and push along the coastlines as they agree to Cyprus' neutrality. However, they do not agree to Tripoli be taken as they go ahead and leave us with this border in the final final standings. And this map has changed a lot. First of all, California no longer the number 1 power, not super weak, still in the middle of a war. Florida has probably surpassed it due to all its war spores. Okay, the rankings are, I've tried to debate this. Nepal, I think I'm going to put number 1. Little land, conquered a lot, cool. Germany at number 2, follow closely behind. Then at number 3, I think I'm going to put Florida. Florida has risen to number 3. 4 I'm going to put Sweden, and 5 I'm going to put Iraq. And these two are probably like 6 and 7 in what order. Like these two are close to the top 5. If Tibet would have kept Beijing, I would have put it in the top 5. But it didn't, so I can't justify it being in the top 5. And I forgot the order I said. What was it like? Nepal, Germany. Nepal, Germany, what? Nepal, Germany, Florida, Sweden, Iraq, something like that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode. I need to go to sleep or start editing these. Goodbye. Au revoir.